Hi everyone and welcome to podcast number 6
from JR006. Now today I have the distinct pleasure of being able to interview one very awesome guy. He owns a website that is nonstop awesomeness.me. I originally came to learn about him through a mutual friend, Jacob Sokol of Sensibly.com. But the cool thing is that this guy who goes by the name of Nathan Agin also has decided to sell all of his belongings in order to become a digital nomad and travel doing the things he loves. So this included him having a little stint not too long ago in Hawaii, where he stayed for, I believe it was a couple months, and he's actually looking to go back there again between his jobs in LA and across other states in the US. So thank you very much for joining the call, Nathan.
Josh, it's absolutely my pleasure. Really, really excited to talk to you today.
Now, I'm obviously amped because, and you know why, I've sent quite a few emails with certain, some certain projects that I've got in the back of my pocket as well. But would you be able to just give other people the pleasure of hearing your story? Because I'm sure you can tell it a lot better than I can.
Sure, and I will attempt to be brief. So, I grew up in a very quiet town in Massachusetts, on the East Coast. And lived there for, through high school and all that. And then I decided to travel west to Los Angeles and attend the University of Southern California for college, where I studied theater. So I did that, came out to USC, huge shift. I mean, USC's student population is 3 times the population of my town. So that on one level was just enormous. It was just an enormous change, but I felt, okay, yeah, this is right. I'm here. I've studied acting. I'm in the right town for TV and film, and all is good. So did the college thing, stayed out in LA after a while, after college, and did a lot of plays and did a lot of theater. And it wasn't until about 2008 that I really feel like I knew what I was doing in terms of acting. And that was the year I started to learn a lot about that I am running a business as an actor, and I'm not just another person, another face in front of the camera. That I'm the CEO of my own company. So that was a real key shift for me, and that was very interesting to fold into what I was doing and marketing and all that kind of stuff. So started to look at other projects and what else I could do. Fast forward a little bit, I thought it would be fun to take a stand-up class. Which I did, and as I got closer to performing, I started to realize, why did I think this was going to be fun? This is the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. I think this is going to kill me. And oh God, I just remember doing my first open mic, and there was like 40 people there, and they do the warm-up comic, and then they draw names, and my name was the first name to be drawn. I'd never done this before, and I go up on stage, and I remember so little, but I do remember that when I got off stage, nobody threw me out of the building. Nobody had lit the stage on fire. I did not pass out. So it was like, okay, wow, I can actually survive this. So had some fun with stand-up, had a couple really great shows in LA, had a lot of fun with that. Then, the universe threw me this, I can't even say curveball. It was kind of a curveball, but it was this really sweet pitch that I hit out of the park. I booked this national commercial for this Super Bowl campaign, which, when you talk about booking a commercial, like the Super Bowl is usually what you want to book. So suddenly I had that and ran around the Super Bowl and ran in the World Cup, and that was, very nice and very cool. Right. And right on the heels of that, I was cast to make my professional debut as an actor in a regional theater in Seattle, Washington, which was almost a dream come true, or I shouldn't say almost, it was a dream come true. Just go out of LA and work as an actor full time, huge difference in my life. So did that, had a blast up in Seattle, came back from that, all that experience and all those whirlwind things that all happened in about a year, and realized that, okay, what am I going to do next? And as I thought more about it, I really landed on the fact that I was not excited about acting, that the actual performance of it did not fire me up. It's that Joseph Campbell thought that, people say that what we're all seeking is a meaning for life. And he says, I don't think that's what we're really seeking. I think that what we're seeking is an experience of being alive.
Okay.
And I realized that was what had happened, that at one point I really was fired up about acting. And now that was not the case anymore. It was not a judgment. It was just, this is the reality of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was, okay, what am I going to do now? And was doing a lot of reading, a lot of self-development stuff, a lot of journaling, thinking about this, had been taking in all this information through, this product, Philosopher's Notes, and reading a lot about, unconventional living through this website, Art of Nonconformity, and really digging what both of those, places had to say, and decided, okay, what could be something really fun that would just take me completely out of the world I've known up to this point? And I thought, okay, well, what if I start traveling? And surprisingly, my brain did not put up any hesitations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my heart was like, I want to do this. And my brain said, okay. You know, it was like, I know you can do this, so just go do it. Why are you asking permission from yourself?
Yeah.
So I just launched into it and went about, how do I get rid of everything or sell everything and recycle and all that good stuff? And then where am I going to go? Research that. And then, Art of Nonconformity, part of that is, travel hacking, you know, figuring out how to travel on the cheap or for free. And so my first ticket from Los Angeles to Hawaii, a one-way ticket, which was, I think, the first one-way ticket I'd ever bought. You know, everything else had always been round trip. First one-way ticket I ever bought was $5. So
wow.
it was, you know, it was just a completely new way of life. And I was so excited about what I was doing. And it was just so crazy how many cool things started to come in. I could easily just continue talking about all of the awesome stuff since then, but I'll leave it there for right now.
Cool. Because I love how you touched on a few good notes. One of them was mentioning Philosopher's Notes, but as well being able to travel hack as well as you did. So in hindsight, you've ended up having this mind shift from allowing your occupation to define you to having that realization that what you're actually looking for in life is the experience of being alive. And I think that's something that a lot of people will resonate with, because they'll be striving, obviously they'll think to go and get an occupation. One example is myself, for instance. And I thought, what's something that I'm really passionate about, I love doing, and would make me feel alive? And then one of those things would be to become a 3D animator and work on, some box office films that would do really well. And then through that process, I ended up having that paradigm shift of thinking that animation was the whole and heart of what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, to realizing that although it's still my passion, there are other things in life that make me feel, you know, invigorated and motivated. And one of them, of course, is to be able to interview cool people like yourself and, you know, to do this thing, which is just spreading the message of how successful you can be if you have that right mindset and the desire to just go out and achieve. So that's why it's a great pleasure to interview someone like yourself, because it's to a degree a contrast to who I normally get to talk with. And so when it comes to mindset, you mentioned that you've started doing coaching. What was the turning point for you from being a follower of websites like Philosopher's Notes and then eventually just deciding, you know what, I want to give this a go. I want to see if I can help other people?
Well, I found myself talking a lot about what I was doing to, you know, friends and family, and, you know, really excited about what I was doing. And I could see that they were excited about what I was doing. And, you know, I would have conversations. I am just someone that doesn't enjoy casual conversation, small talk, you know, chit chat. I mean, if I'm at a party, if I happen to find myself next to someone, the question I really want to ask is, who are you? You know, like who are you being? Like that's really what I want to ask. But it's my own baggage that, you know, ends up saying, so what do you do? And how do you know the host? And, you know, sometimes that can lead to great conversations, but often it doesn't. So I love genuine, deep connections with people. And I often have those, I often seek those out in my life, you know, with friends and just really talk about what's going on. And so I started to think and realize, geez, I think I'm doing some form of coaching as I talk to people about where they're going in their life and what they're doing and projects they're working on and how I might respond and react in different situations. I was like, I think I'm doing this. I'm doing something maybe similar to coaching. I'm just not charging for it, and I'm just not calling it coaching.
Right.
And I had that thought of, what if I just do this? What if I just put it out there that I'm going to coach? Because one of the best pieces of advice I heard recently, because last year I launched this virtual assistant business, and it was before I decided to leave Los Angeles, but I knew I wanted a more flexible structure to my life. And I had been working in offices for years. I mean, I know about working in offices, and I'm very good at it. So a good friend had recommended I do this, and I launched this business, and I talked to someone about this, and he said, when it comes to working online, you don't need to prove yourself. Like, nobody asks for your credentials. But if you just show up and demonstrate that you can do the work, that's all people need. No one's going to ask, what virtual assistant training you had. Or as a coach, no one's going to ask, or at least my experience has been, no one asks, well, what certifies you as a coach? Where are the letters after your name?
Right.
And, running with that belief, it was, just one day I was sitting, in Kauai, as people tend to do, and I thought, what if I put together a flyer, that I just do like a, little document, I make a PDF out of it, and half an hour later I had a flyer. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, and I guess I should send this out. And I was like, let me just put it on Facebook, and, a bunch of people jumped on it, and it took off, and I realized that I'd known for, a while that I love verbal communication. I love connecting with people through that discourse, through that medium. And so coaching has come the talking part of coaching has come very naturally. And then it's just, I focus on what I feel nonstop awesomeness is.
Right.
And what has been cool is it forces me to become more articulate with my thoughts. That, I came up with this name, Nonstop Awesomeness, which I thought was fun because it had the same initials as my name, Nathan Agin, Nonstop Awesomeness. So I was like, oh, cool. And, it's kind of fun. When I tell people that they either laugh or smile, which confirms, I found the right name.
Yep.
That's the energy I love, bringing to people and seeing, in people. But it has really forced me to articulate what this means, what this concept is. And I get that question, like, well, what is nonstop awesomeness? And it is about living from the being, to live from who you choose to be. Because that's really, for me, when everything started to change. When the primary objective became, who do I choose to be in my life? And what qualities do I choose to live with, and what do I want to develop, and what are my daily fundamentals? What do I do on a daily basis to support me and nurture me, that enables me to be the best version of myself that I can? That when I got on that path, everything else has followed nicely. It hasn't been a completely smooth ride, and that's what the nonstop awesomeness is. It's like, if you cultivate and develop this rock solid foundation, then no matter what life throws at you, good or bad, quote unquote good or bad, you are going to rock right through it. So your life, anyone's life, can be nonstop awesomeness.
Right.
And so that's been really fun for me to be able to articulate. And it's that level that no matter where anyone is, no matter what their economic status is, social status, geography, class, whatever it is, that we all have the potential to be who we choose to be. That, maybe we can't do what we really want to do. Maybe that's not available for us right, in this moment. But in this moment, we can choose who we want to be. And as I have made that my focus, everything else, all the externals, first of all, the externals don't matter. They don't matter as much because I'm content, and not just content, I'm excited with who I'm being. But any externals that have come into my life, they've been amazing. They've been awesome. I mean, going to Hawaii, I set that up, but then the people I meet there, the opportunities I have, going to Oahu, going to Kauai, staying in one of the most gorgeous locations on Kauai for 3 weeks for free, eating like royalty, and, meeting cool, conscious, passionate people, that have developed in a lifelong, powerful relationships. This is not this is not what happens if you're, going around moping or, kicking the dirt going, why me? It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And, the other part, because I think it would have been very easy for me, when I was acting, because I still to some degree identify myself with, I exist to do that, what I do defines who I am. And I still work on that because I don't think that's true. I don't think that's accurate. I think who I am being defines who I am. So as I had spent all those years as an actor working and marketing and looking for what is the next break, it was very easy for me to shift all of that over off my plate when I realized it didn't fire me up. There was no judgment in that.
Okay.
And I think that's a real key component because especially if you've been, in the same job for X number of years, or you've been pursuing something for X number of years, to suddenly go, okay, well, I'm just not going to do that anymore. That can be a real challenge.
Okay.
And to just without any judgment go, you know what, I'm just not going to focus on it. And maybe that shifts over into hobby land, which, I kind of make this joke that, I didn't get all dramatic and say that I retired from acting. It's all it is I am not interested in pursuing acting in Los Angeles right now. That's all it is. Because all we have is the present moment. So I can only make a decision about the present moment.
Right. And the cool thing is too, you've touched on so many great fundamental philosophies. So you mentioned how you're a proponent of free agency or being able to make the choices yourself and not having them be determined by some other forces. You've also mentioned that people can look at life and then be able to say, hey, from what I have at the moment on my plate, is this what I really want to eat in essence? And if not, then, throw the plate away and get something else that looks better. And then, of course, there are the other concepts like talking about how you can, have that moment between stimulus and response like Stephen R. Covey talks about, or how Viktor Frankl mentions how you can always choose a response and then
absolutely
just by being proactive and then looking at that and having the right mindset, it can empower you to such a great extent. And I liked as well how you put the disclaimer in, not everybody is going to be able to do everything that they want to do. Like there are only so many things we can do. But then it's like when I talked to Jacob, we have no real scope of what we're actually capable of doing. So it's an incredible thing to hear someone like yourself reiterate that. For those of us who are listening who may have heard those messages once or twice, that we may have listened to Tony Robbins or read one of his books, maybe Awakening the Giant, where he talks about how the greatest failing anyone can ever do is to take away their responsibility and accountability. And by seizing that and not giving anything else the power to determine what you do is going to be the first step to getting what you want. And I think that's really cool, especially after you mentioned that with acting. It's not you finishing or retiring from acting at this point. It's just you not focusing on it at this present time.
Absolutely. And what has been cool to see is how all of my years as an actor and honestly all of my years doing that office work, how all of those skills now seem to be converging.
Right.
And that is something very cool that I've never experienced in my life because the office work was always, somewhat separate from acting. I could use some of those skills in terms of my marketing, but now in the way that I am connecting with people and the work that I'm doing, it's starting to involve everything. And that's really exciting as I know I'm on my path that, I needed to pick up what I have so that I could, get to this point and go beyond. I mean, it's really exciting. It just comes from really embracing, who I authentically am, which I did not do for a long time. For probably, almost 26 or 27 years. I didn't fully love who I was. It wasn't that I hated myself. I just didn't fully love who I was.
Right.
And that's a big shift too, to really embrace who you are, what you are capable of. And I did this exercise out of the book, The Big Leap, where it talks about, what is in your zone of genius? What do you have the potential to be amazing at and that you love to do? And you are born gifted with. It's not something you hope to do or you want to get good at. Just good. And as I thought about that and realized acting wasn't in that zone, it was cool. It was like, okay, cool. Well, I'm a good actor. I can get the job done. You give me something to do, I can take care of it, no worries. I might even have some moments of, really good acting. But for the most part, I'm good. I'm solid. I probably won't change anyone's life as an actor, and that's cool. So what is possible that exists in my zone of genius? What do I have the potential to be the best in the world at? That really fires me up, that I can be working on for 6 hours without a break, and I don't even realize it's been 6 hours. That's been really fun to explore. That idea of, and this is the nonstop awesomeness, to authentically, live my life, really connect with who I am, and then have this, to live an awesome life where you have this deep admiration and gratitude and love for yourself, for others, and for the world. And I think from that place, from being authentic and from being awesome, you tune into the excitement and enthusiasm in your life and cultivate that, that true passion that fires you up. It's really cool. And passion is one of those things that I don't think can be denied. If somebody is passionate about something, it is so obvious. I think talking to you on the phone, you are clearly passionate about talking to people. And you're not just going through the motions. And that's that question of what are you excited about, which I love to ask people. That I think is so key. And I think many of us don't really ask that question or don't really answer it. What are we really excited about? And then to live from that place.
Right. What I think is so awesome too is you're talking about being awesome. You're talking about having an awareness of the possibilities of your own genius. Now, I want to niche down, I want to dig deep into this because obviously people are hearing this. They're getting a sense of, wow, this is great. This guy's got a winning mindset. He knows how to look at things and approach them in a manner that's going to benefit you, whether your cup is half empty or half full. But with regard to understanding what your capabilities are as an individual, are there any limits to what a person can do? For instance, I was talking to you before this call, and over the space of our email correspondence, you've been aware that one of my desires is to become an actor who is able to star in a short-lived sci-fi series that becomes a cult classic. Like, that is my thing. So as far as being able to put things in perspective, what would you say to someone like myself? See, now what I'm doing right now is probably not right because I'm asking for a complimentary coaching session in the middle of the interview. But just as an example, what would you suggest would be the first steps in kind of centering myself and looking at things from an approachable and attainable action plan or guide?
Well, I think number one, it's how you define success, which I think you clearly have. And now it's just about how much of that is dependent upon other people's decisions and how much of that can you be responsible for.
Okay.
To me, it's been very key to think about what am I responsible for creating. And as an actor, I realized, I had the idea of like, oh, it'd be great to, get a show in New York and then I can just go with the show and I can be living in New York and not have to worry about a job or a place to stay. And finally it dawned on me, why am I waiting to fulfill my dreams? Why am I waiting on other people to, fulfill my dreams? That just doesn't make any sense. Like if I really want to go to New York or I really want to go to London, or an act, if that's really what I want to do, why am I hoping somebody else is going to give me that opportunity as opposed to just making it happen on my own? Now, in terms of, can anybody do anything? I think, again, it's 2 degrees, let's put it this way. You do not want me working on your car. That we'll just make that clear. I do not possess those skills and it would just be a bad idea. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't have the capacity to read about working on cars and spend a while working on cars and maybe actually do a passable job. But that mechanical stuff is never going to end up in my zone of genius, no matter how much I try, because it's just not part of my inherent skills, my inherent gifts. And that's cool. It's not about, if you have undying passion for something, but you're not amazing at it, then it's a hobby. And, you can keep it as a hobby. You may not get paid for this, but you love to do it, keep doing it. There's nothing wrong with that. And so I think, whatever people are excited about doing, they should do that. There's that other Joseph Campbell quote, follow your bliss. What are you happy about? If you love, leading horses around trails in the mountains and, but you don't want to start up your own, I don't even know where I'm going with this analogy, but, okay, now it makes no sense. The point is, you don't need to have a business model or least of which a successful business model in mind to do what you're happy about, and to at least check it out and explore it, because, you don't have to commit yourself. If I shift out of whatever I'm doing into this is what I'm going to do full time forever. It's releasing the expectations, from ourselves and just to see what happens. Like, as I explore this, piece that really excites me, that I really love, what else might come of it? Now, I mean, for you as an actor, Josh, I know there's a lot of stuff being filmed in New Zealand, so, that's a good avenue. But, if you want to hook up with, the sci-fi cult classics, making a move to LA probably wouldn't be a bad idea. And then it's about really, networking with that genre, networking within that genre. Who are the directors to know? Who are the casting directors to know? Who are the agents to know? Who are the actors to know? So it's like, as you surround yourself with those people, and this applies no matter what you're doing, but as you surround yourself with the people in your industry, if this is where you not only want to be, but need to be, like, this is, if you realize this is my path, this is how I am going to communicate with the world. We've all heard these stories about, James Dean sleeping in the doorway of someone's office so that he'd be noticed and cast in a film. And whether it's lore or not, I think there's something to that. Like, he knew this was what he was supposed to do. And so, if you're supposed to do something, then, I would encourage someone to pursue it wholeheartedly, because you are only denying yourself. And that was something that came up for me, that as I thought about getting rid of everything and traveling to a place I'd never been and living a life that I knew nothing about, it was scary. I cannot deny that. The fear came up. I mean, it was there. And what I had to realize was I was so excited about what might happen that to deny myself of that was even more terrifying.
Right.
And so if you land on something that really excites you, how can you deny it? There, really quickly, there's this great writer, Jonathan Fields, who he's a blogger, and I think he has Jonathan Fields is his domain name. So he did this TED Talk about fear, and a great personal story. And at the end of it, he asks 3 questions that, when you come up, when you want to do something in your life and you have fear about it. First question is, what if I do nothing? Second question is, what if I fall and get back up? And the third question is, what if I succeed? And I think if you ask yourself, what if I succeed, and a smile begins to form on your face, you have to pursue it. Like, there's just no getting around it. Your body is telling you, we got to go for this. We have to do it. So if you're sitting at home going, man, wouldn't it be so amazing if I was the lead on a, cult classic, sci-fi genre TV show like that, and you start to get a smile on your face, and you're just like, and that fires you up. Well, then, Josh, you may just have to pursue that.
Yeah, the smile's pretty big at the moment. It is, and the coolest thing too is that the way that you presented it. I come from a background personally of doing drama through like up until I graduated from high school, and then of course I've delved into the arts, and then I've jumped around. I'm now enjoying the zone, which is blogging, internet marketing, and connecting with people. But I'm finding that the passion of being able to network with people is so great. Obviously, if I could be able to do, as an example, 1 interview a day for the rest of my life, and be able to share that with someone and continue doing that, then that's something that I would love to do. And then it's linking back to what you said, how the power is in, as an example, moving to LA and networking with people that are already doing what you want. And the great thing about this entire game, Nathan, is that from the very beginning, from when I first started listening to the lifestyle design and business philosophy training tapes from great speakers such as Tony Robbins and Jim Rohn. I think it was even Jim Rohn who said the quote, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with."
Right.
But the value in that is goes so much deeper than how much you make in the monetary sense. It applies to every single facet of your life. So if you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, then if you have 5 people who are, skilled in a certain area, then you can almost guarantee that you'll have the average competency of that particular skill, that particular ability to network, possibly to act as well. And so it's huge motivation for anyone. It's not simply about money. It becomes a movement into life and what you can get out of that. One of the things I actually wanted to pose to you, and I may turn this into a slight debate, but you mentioned beforehand how when you ask whether you should do something or not, you propose the question of what if I succeed, and you find yourself having this ear-to-ear grin that tells you that this is what you should be doing. When it comes to someone, as an example, who's so passionate about being a gardener, for instance, and all they would love to do is just to have a green thumb, like they'd love to have 4 green thumbs if they could. But then looking at the eternal perspective as far as their life is concerned, there's obviously some restrictions with choosing a lifestyle like that. And so what I was posing in my mind is, if I had this inert passion to be a gardener, as an example, would I still be following that passion if I was going through the motions of being the finest gardener around and being able to do everything I wanted to? But then it brought the restrictions that come with being a gardener. So, for example, having a certain amount of income. Is my passion still gardening, or is my passion gardening with other things in mind?
I really appreciate you posing this question, because I think it's important that as people talk about whatever their philosophy is, that we don't just accept anything as truth. It's like, okay, well, what about this? Or how do you think about that? So I really thank you for drawing this out. And it forces me to be more articulate and really think through things. It brought up a few points for me. And so hopefully it addresses the question. Number one, I totally understand and relate that, not everybody can change their life to the extent that I did. And, just give everything up. I mean, whether you have a family or parents or brothers or sisters, whatever the external dynamics are that you need to attend to, I understand we all have those things, and I still have some of them in my life. So it is really about to what degree you bring this in your life. Okay. I mean, if you know that you so love gardening, but you need to tend to other things in your life, maybe it's about keeping a small kitchen garden, but, putting as much energy and love and passion into that as you can, so that it nurtures that part of you, and you can still fulfill all of the other requirements. Now, it's possible that because of the energy you're putting into that, the other things may start to fade away. The other things that seemed important may not become as important. There's definitely a question of priorities. What do you choose to spend your time on? There's that the book Vagabonding, which I've been told about by a number of people, so I know I need to read it. But one of the quotes somebody tossed out at me is not only that I need to read it, but that I choose and I'm excited to read it. But one of the quotes in there is, wealth is not measured by dollars, but by how you spend your minutes. What do you choose to spend your time on? So, if you know you love to garden, and you can't make that your full life right now, your full-time life, and it may not support the lifestyle that you have, that's cool. And it's also understanding there's no deadline. This is not a project due next week. Right. If you being a full-time gardener, this is a lifelong project. So with that in mind, there's probably something you could do today to bring that into your life in some capacity, in some way. And I'm a big believer in pursue your passion and the money will follow. It may not make you, wealthy beyond your years where you can live in, the Hollywood Hills or wherever you want to live, but, something may come in. And if you assume that, like, oh geez, I mean, it'd be great if I made $5 from this, and somebody pays you $10, you've just doubled what you expected.
Right, right.
So it's really about just pursuing it however you can, fully, and with an excitement and without resentment that you can't pursue it any more fully than where you are. That is just accepting where you are in your life and where you are on your path. Where you are on your path, that is where you need to be for your evolution. So, and my evolution, are there places that, in my mind, are there places I dream of being? Yes, but I'm not there yet. And so if I tie myself to, well, I'm not there yet, and I don't know if I'll ever get there, I'm not going to get there, but I've already lost the battle, because in my mind, it's over. I'm not even preparing to get there. So if I just keep in mind, like, okay, I'm doing the work that I need to do, and I'm focusing on who I choose to be, that is what I'm here to do. I am not here to concern myself with the externals. Whether I influence one person or 1 million, that is not up to me. Whether I make $1 or $1 million, that is not up to me to decide. The universe will make it clear where I am supposed to go. There's this great quote I heard the other night that, we all have, there are great ideas, that we're presented with of, oh, you should totally do this, or, you have a knack for this, you should do that. We all get a lot of good ideas thrown at us, but it's about looking at, is this my assignment? And if it is not my assignment, then I will not receive the cosmic support for it. I mean, I have done things, there's been a couple times in my life, that show in Seattle I did, where doors were opening themselves without me even knocking. It was just amazing how effortlessly things were happening. And it was clear that was the path I needed to be on. And the work I'm doing now, things are happening effortlessly. I still need to put work in, and I still need to, pursue them fully and show up fully. But connections are being made that I don't know how I would have made them if I absolutely tried to make them. And the final point I want to make is, you pursue something fully, you're excited about it, and then the possibility is your feelings about it change. And then you just change course. If you knew all I want to do is garden, and you're doing it for a while, and you're really excited, you're doing it, whether it's full-time or part-time or whatever, and then after, 6 months or 6 weeks or 6 days, you realize, this is not for me. This is not the life I want. You can just, let it go. Like, there's nothing saying that we have to continue on with something just because we said we were going to.
That's an excellent note. And that's such a great way to kind of round off the interview as a whole. I love the distinction you made about how when we look at our lives and look at what we want to do, it's not about approaching things with part-time awesomeness, but distinguishing it as a part-time pursuit of a passion with full-time awesomeness. So,
oh, I love that. Yeah.
I'm going to send that one to you, and you can just add it as a footer signature or something. But
there will be due credit. And I'll make sure to send you. From one actor to another, I'll be sure to send you residuals every time I use that.
I appreciate that, man. But no, I think it's so powerful. It is, because, like I said, sometimes a lot of us can have that narrow-minded perspective. We tend to look at things with the blinders on. But like you say, there's no reason why everything that we do as our passion can't be an organic journey. It can't be dynamic. And so you should always maintain that focus as well while you're doing things. So I have to say, Nathan, this is why I do it. I mean, I love being able to talk to people who can share information and advice on how people should approach life, because every single interview I've had to date, I'm always picking up new things, or I'm always being reminded of old things that I've forgotten. So I sincerely appreciate you pointing that out to me as well, because it certainly helps to, get my compass and be able to position it in the right place so I can see where I want to go as an individual, as a father, a husband, a friend, an internet entrepreneur, and an interviewer who gets to talk to great people like yourself. So thank you very much.
Josh, as I said at the beginning, it is absolutely my pleasure. And I'm excited that as I am on my path, and excited to, continue to live this life and share it with those interested and connect with others on this path. I'm so excited that, it brings people like you into my world that, as an actor, I don't know if that would have happened or, how it might have happened. So I'm just so excited at the possibilities of who I am going to continue to meet, and just really, really love what I will be able to work on, what you'll be able to work on, collaboration that can happen between me, you, anyone out there. It's so exciting that if we pursue our passions, pursue what we love, there is limitless potential of what we can do and be. It's just so amazing.
Right, right. And closing, are there any other last messages that you want people to remember? I mean, we've covered everything to do with awesomeness almost, but I mean, is there any last words that you'd like to leave our listeners?
Oh, geez. Now I should probably quote some Shakespeare or something since
I think it's a poignant time. I think it's appropriate. Should I put you on the spot anymore?
Now I need to actually, let me get my book of sonnets out here so I can, no, I'm not going to quote Shakespeare.
I really thought you were. That was going to be awesome. That's going to be like my first interview with Shakespeare in it.
Oh, well, let's see. I can't think of any. I mean, the only thing that's coming to mind. Oh, you know what? I did this great. I played Proteus in the Two Gentlemen of Verona, which was a lot of fun. But it's all very silly right now that I can think of.
Yep.
You know. Okay. Let's pretend that those last 30 seconds didn't happen. And what's some serious advice, sage wisdom I can pass off here?
Okay.
I don't think I have anything. It's really, no, I think now I'm just rambling.
All right. Because, I'm definitely looking forward to leaving this in the recording. This is going to add a nice.
Oh no, you're going to kill me. Like, yeah. Really, oh,
this is what we do this for. People are going to relate to this, probably the last 30 seconds of this interview, just as much as the first 40 minutes. So
I will say this, no matter what happens, like even with this, as I start to get cold sweats over here going, oh God, this is such a train wreck. It was going so well up until this. Even as these moments happen, I still have the ability to choose how I respond. So as I continue to handle this playfully and I'm excited and really enjoy it, this will just, I will just continue to have fun as opposed to like slamming my hand on the table, wishing like, I hadn't said anything about Shakespeare.
No, that's fantastic. That's awesome. Hey, thank you very much again.